And this is the structure of today's quiz. We start out with 2 rounds of mixed bag of questions called the Potpourri, followed by round through, which is a listed round, and we'll explain all the rounds of the quiz as we go along, and followed by 2 fast-paced buzzer rounds, connect the dots, and on the buzzer, right? So that'll be the proceedings for today, and we'll start out with Team 1, Guwahati Medical College, on the Potpourri, right? Potpourri, and this is actually 6 questions on infinite bounds, clockwise starting from Team 1, so it start from Team 1 and we go clockwise. The rules of pounds, so just for the, I think all the finalists would know what the pounds rules are. So within 10 seconds of me reading out the question, if any of you think you know the answer, raise your hands and I will come and see your answers. You need to write it down. And if on pounds, there are 2 parts to the question, I need both the parts for it to get full points. Else you might get a negative, so be careful on your pounds. And whenever I call out before I close pounds, ensure you catch my attention and say, and raise your hands, right? Not a half-raised hand, but a full raised hand, so that I know you folks are pouncing on it. Okay? So then there is a direct round, +10, and there's no negatives on the direct round. So you can go out and guess as much as you wish, and there is no negative marking there. So with that, let's begin our national finals with the first question, and I think quite apt to start with a question from the Constituent Assembly, right? So this is a following introduction of the objectives resolution in the Constituent Assembly on 13 December 1946. There was an intensive debate on an important issue for the next few days. Here is a Prasar Bharati recording of Dr. Ambedkar addressing the same. The reaction to which issue, according to Shyama Prasad Mukherjee, would strengthen the hands of reactionaries in Great Britain are we referring to, right? Listen to the audio, right? And try to work out what issue is Dr. Ambedkar alluding to in this video, okay? So that's essentially an audio, but this is pretty cool because you'll actually listen to the voice of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar on this.
So far, as the ultimate goal is concerned, I think none of us need have any apprehensions. None of us need have any doubt. But my fear, which I must express clearly, is this. Our difficulty, as I said, is not about the ultimate future. Our difficulty is how to make the heterogeneous mess that we have today take a decision in common and march in a cooperative way on that road which is bound to lead us to unity. Our difficulty is not with regard to the ultimate. Our difficulty is with regard to the beginning.
So there are some elements of what Dr. Ambedkar is talking about there, and Mr. Shyama Prasad Mukherjee says it would strengthen the hands of reactionaries in Great Britain. Some issue which was hotly debated, at the very beginning, at the introduction of the objectives resolution. So think about it, what could it be? Anyone pouncing on this question? I don't see a pounce. You want to pounce? Okay, no teams pouncing. I see only NLSIU team 2 pouncing. I close pounce, +10 if they get it right, -10 if they get it wrong, and I quickly go check their pounce. So seen the answer, and the direct is to Guwahati Medical College. What issue that Mr. Shyama Prasad Mukherjee went on to say, something that would strengthen the hands of reactionaries in Great Britain, their opinion on the Constituent Assembly. There's lots of hints that Dr. Ambedkar was talking about. What are we talking about? Yeah. And think about it right at the beginning when the objectives resolution was passed and so on. Okay, I need an answer, Guwahati Medical College. If you can, pass on the mic.
Yeah, so we'll say that basically it's talking about the different groupings that were created. So basically of two separate constituent assemblies to be created for India and for the others, like Muslim majority states. So the fact that Muslim League did not be a part of this, so that was seen detrimental to the idea of the constituent assembly.
So what Guwahati Medical College is saying is, since Muslim League, which was a very important representation of the community, was not part of the Constituent Assembly, the, at least the sanctity of the Constituent Assembly might not have a voice. And that is why Dr. Ambedkar goes on to say that we are clear of what we want, but we'll try and make sure that they come on board. But if they don't, we need to go ahead and build on the Constitution. The first question of the national finals, and Guwahati Medical College cracks it! Fantastic answer, and I think they worked on it. It was not an answer that they, knew from the beginning, but they kind of, derived that answer through it. Good 10 points. This was largely the issue of the absence of the Muslim League in the Constituent Assembly, and the overall issue that whether, at least from the British Parliament, they always kind of were skeptical whether India could have a Constituent Assembly of its own, and whether without the Muslim League being part of the Constituent Assembly, what would be its legitimacy and so on, right? So that's the answer we were looking for, and this is...
It was asked, I think, by my friend, the Prime Minister of Bihar, who spoke yesterday in this assembly. He said, how can this resolution prevent the League from coming into the Constituent Assembly?
Right, so that was largely what the issue was, and we wanted to just kind of play that part of the video, audio that he was talking about. So, unfortunately, a -10 on that. We needed a very specific answer, right? So, moving on to NUJS, your direct coming up on the screen. Dark Princess by W.E.B. Du Bois is a novel that explores the beauty of people of color around the world. The plot follows a character named Matthew Towns who meets Princess Kautilya. She introduces him to the vibrant world run by leaders of color. In one sequence, Princess Kautilya is shown unfurling a flag of independence, much like the real-life leader on whom the character is said to be based. Which historical figure that can be seen here delivering a speech for independence is said to have inspired this character from the book Dark Princess? Right? Look at the video, and you should be in a position to work out the answer. You need to tell us the real-life character who inspired, Princess Kautilya, right, in the book. There's no audio for it, just a video grab. You can see the person giving the speech. She played a very important role in mobilizing, let's say, support for the Indian freedom struggle in a big way from different communities around the world. Right? Okay, so anyone pouncing on this question? So we have 3 teams pouncing, 4 teams pouncing, and we close pounce, 4 teams pouncing. Guwahati Medical College also pounced. Right. Okay, I've seen their answers. And the direct was to NUJS, you folks.
Is it Madam Bhikaiji Cama?
And what makes you think of Madam Bhikaiji Cama?
She was the first one to unfurl the Indian flag in an assembly in, I think, I'm not sure the location.
In Stuttgart, in Germany, and that's the right answer. This is Madam Bhikaiji Cama, who was a very strong proponent of the Indian freedom struggle. She went to the National Socialist Congress in Stuttgart, and I think about 1922, when she unfurled the Indian national flag, which is based on the Calcutta flag then, and that kind of inspired the present flag that we have today, our national flag. That is right. This is Madam Bhikaiji Cama, and a good 10 points there. And teams which pounce, if you can raise your hands, right? So 10 points to NLSIU, AFMC are minus 10, NLSIU team 1, another 10 points, and 10 points to Goa Medical College as well. They all got it, and they cracked it right. This was Madam Bhikaiji Cama, right? So this was the answer we were looking for. And she also supported the Gadar party in many ways. So she virtually went to different parts of the world to promote and mobilize strength for the Indian freedom struggle. Good 10 points to NUJS. Moving on to the next question, and that's directed to NLU Delhi. Team 1, your question coming up on the screen. The Constitution of the Hindustan Free State Act of 1944 was drafted by key members of the Hindu Mahasabha. It borrowed features from previous documents like the Nehru Report and the Government of India Act of 1935. It contained a distinct provision that has been implemented at the panchayat level in a few states in northern India. It was introduced in Lok Sabha by C.K. Chandrapan, the person pictured, in 1974. However, it did not pass muster, did not pass, support for it was not provided, and it did not pass. A hotly contested debate during the Constituent Assembly, this issue was, it was meant to be a remedy for the public should things go wrong. What provision was proposed in the Constitution of the Hindustan Free State Act of 1944, right, are we talking about? Teams which are pouncing, quickly raise your hand. So we have 3 teams here and 2 teams here. And I close pounce and I quickly check their answers. Okay. 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 You folks do not pounce. The direct was to NLU Delhi. Team 1.
A reservation for women in public bodies.
Reservation for women in public authorities, public bodies. Moving on to NLU Delhi Team 2.
We think it's a provision providing for the recall or impeachment of elected members by the public, like recall or impeachment of elected officials.
So how would that work?
So like again by election, like there would have to be a referendum of sorts and public could vote against the people who are elected in case something went
So
wrong.
if somebody got elected and then you found the fact that they had a criminal record or they were not apt or they did not qualify for the representations, that is what would happen. The right to recall for the public to say we disregard our representation and we need another person representing us. That's the right answer. Very good and well cracked. Good 10 points to NLU Delhi Team 2. Teams which are pouncing, if you can quickly raise your hands. We have SLS Pune who got it right with 10 points. We have NLSIU Team 1 which got it right with 10 points. AFMC also got it right with 10 points. Guwahati Medical College also got it with 10 points. Unfortunately, NUJS, I think they went on the other side of right to bear arms, not quite, and they get a minus 10 on that, and good 10 points to NLU Delhi Team 2. And the next question, since it's an infinite bounce, to Symbiosis Law School, Pune, and this was the right to recall as a power to the public in order to recall public representatives. Yeah? Right, this is, which was amongst the distinct provisions in the Hindustan Free State Act of 1944. Moving on to the next question, and Symbiosis Law School, Pune, your direct coming up. Indigenous Library was established in 1848, which was one of India's first schools for girls. It was co-founded by Fatima Sheikh, considered by some to be the first Muslim woman teacher. She went door to door encouraging families to send their girls to the school. Named the duo who co-founded this institution with her to empower backward communities like Dalit, Muslim women and children, and they worked on a variety of issues to kind of support the people without access and so on, right? And from women empowerment to providing interreligious marriages to multiple aspects that they covered. So teams which are pouncing, I need the, let's say, the co-founders of the Indigenous Library, along with Ms. Fatima Sheikh. Teams which are pouncing, quickly raise your hands. So we have 3 teams pouncing on this side and 3 teams on this side. I close pounce. Okay. 3 teams which have pounced on this side. Okay. So I've seen the answers from both the sides of the stage, and the direct was to SLS Pune, Symbiosis Law School. Over to you folks, what do you think? I saw the answer. Saw the answer.
All right.
Yeah.
So the duo we are going for is Jyotiba Phule and Savitribai Phule.
So you're saying it was Jyotiba Phule and Savitribai Phule who worked actively with Fatima Sheikh, Miss Fatima Sheikh, to build it. That's the right answer. Please give it up. That's a great, good guess there. So this is Jyotiba Phule and Savitribai Phule who collaborated along with Miss Fatima Sheikh at that time. And, they had a variety of initiatives, social reform movement, a part of the social reform movement in that region. This was close to Pune and Sangli in that region. Yes, so they were the collaborators with Ms. Fatima Sheikh, and Google Doodle, celebrating the work of Ms. Fatima Sheikh that you saw there on the slides. Right? Direct again. So now pounce answers. If you can all raise your hands, please. Right? So Goa Medical College, good 10 points. Good 10 points to NLU Delhi, team 1. Good 10 points to NLU Delhi, team 2. NLS also cracks it, team 1 gets 10 points. AFMC also cracks it with 10 points, and NLSIU team 2 also gets 10 points. Right, so all teams scoring on this question. Good going, all of you. Moving on to NLSIU team 1, your direct question coming up on the screen. Little longish one, but let me read this out for you. So Eve Yon Mande de Morris was born in 1913 in Neuchâtel, Switzerland. She was interested in Indian history, culture, and mythology from a young age, and she went on to marry a young officer and change her name to Savitribai Kanolkar. After independence, as British legacies were being replaced with ones to reflect free India, she was entrusted with the task of designing one of them. The mandate for her was that this symbol should be one that represented power and sacrifice. While she was designing it, she brought in Bhavani, Chhatrapati Shivaji's sword enclosed within Indian mythical weapons Vajra from both sides. What was designed by Ms. Savitribai Kanolkar, which was instituted on 26 January 1950 with retrospective effect from 15th August 1947. I'll probably explain why that happened as well. So teams which are pouncing, I need your, quickly raise your hands. Right? I see 3 teams here and 1 team here, 4 teams pouncing. I close pounce. Okay? So 3 teams and 1, And AFMC. Okay. So I've seen the answers, and the question was directed to NLSIU.
So basically, the British legacies which were being replaced, so they had to redesign flags, and what Savitribai Kanolkar did was redesign the Indian Army flag.
The Indian Army flag. Okay, so you're saying they designed the Indian Army flag. Great guess. Moving on to NLSIU Team 2.
So this is, we'll say this is the Indian Navy. Indian Navy's army insignia, so they designed the Indian Navy.
So the insignia of the Indian Navy. Good guess again. Goa Medical College, you guys pounced. NUJS pounced. NLU Delhi, Team 1.
I think it's the Air Force's insignia.
So now they're going Inky Pinky Ponky, right? From Army, Navy, and Air Force. All very good guesses. And it was, all the other teams have pounced, correct? Okay. You have not answered. Okay, sorry. Symbiosis Law School, Pune.
We said this is the symbol for the Maratha regiment.
The symbol for the Maratha regiment was what Ms. Savitribai Kanolkar designed. Anyone in the audience? Yes? From which college? NLSIU, and they say Param Vir Chakra is a good answer in the national finals. Very well done. I think there is a prize for this one, so from the audience. So good going. This is the Param Vir Chakra, and teams which pounced, if you can quickly raise your hands, right? So AFMC and Dave better get it in a sense. So 10 points for AFMC, very well done. And from here, NLU Delhi team 2 got it right with 10 points. NUJS also cracked it with 10 points. And Guwahati Medical College also getting right on that with good 10 points. This is the Param Vir Chakra. And what is fascinating is that we had this lady from Switzerland who designed our Param Vir Chakra insignia with Bhavani in the middle. So if they can dim it and you can go check it out, the Bhavani is on the sides. And there is the reference of the Vajra from a weapon of Indra, so to say, that's also part of the Param Vir Chakra. And this replaced the Victoria Cross that was given to decorate the sacrifice of the army personnel during that time. And the little challenge was that since we had not still become a republic till 1950, they had to wait till 1950 to officially have the Param Vir Chakra. But what they did was they retrospectively gave awards for the army personnel who had sacrificed their lives from 1947 onwards, right? So that was the funda that we were looking for. Good 10 points to all of them who cracked it. Moving on to the next question on the screen, and this is directed to NLSIU Team 1. Your direct coming up again. Right. So this person, very interesting personality, was being chased by the British around the world in the late 1920s and early 1930s for his political activities, which were perceived to be subversive, seditious, and dangerous. This person infiltrated the Karachi Congress in 1931 under the alias name of Dr. Mahmud. Scholars argue that his presence had a strong influence on the contents of the Karachi Resolution. This person also produced a document which had a profound impact on the constitutional history. Who? I'm going to play you a video where it's essentially in Russian, but there is footnotes that you can see there, right? There's a very interesting and an important clue in that video. Let's dim the lights on the stage, and here is the video for all of you.
États-Unis pour acheter des armes pour la lutte anticolonialiste aux Indes, il est venu en Californie. Alors là, il y a eu la première révélation, c'est-à-dire qu'il a découvert la philosophie occidentale en Californie. Et alors, à Stanford, of all places, là, il a connu pas seulement la philosophie d'Occident, mais il a eu une deuxième révélation. Il a connu Evelyn Trent. Il semble qu'il y a eu une affinité élective. Je pense qu'il a connu là-bas l'ambiance anarcho-syndicaliste.
Je viens de cette photo que m'avait montré Hari Vasudevan, un historien de Calcutta rencontré à Paris, où j'avais été stupéfait de découvrir, aux côtés de Lénine, Gorky, Boukharine, Zinoviev, la haute silhouette parfaitement inconnue d'un Indien.
Right, so there you could see a totally a silhouette of an Indian man amongst the other, Lenin and the other revolutionaries from Russia. So who are we talking about? Teams which are pouncing, please raise your hands now. I have 3 teams pouncing, and I close pounce, right? So went to Stanford looking for weapons, but ended up learning Western philosophy, right? Okay. Okay, and AFMC, got it. So we've seen the answers from 3 teams in the finals, and the direct was to NLSIU Team 1.
Our guess is that the person is M.N. Roy.
And what makes you think of M.N. Roy and why?
One very obvious guess is that the video is in Russian and he was one of the early communist leaders, and that he also attended, I think, the first World Communist Congress, something along those lines. He was one of the only Indian representatives.
And he also founded the Mexican Communist Party, and the fact that he produced the 1944 Constitution of a Free India, which had a profound impact on the Constitution.
Absolutely right. Yes, this is M.N. Roy, and I think he covered all the important facts there. Imagine Mexican Communist Party was something that he had propounded. He was the representative. I mean, he went to Germany, America, multiple places, got influenced, and of course, the Constitution of Free India that formed, like at least the first Indian to be the base of our Constituent Assembly at that time, with multiple other documents that came in as well. So very good answer there, and a good 10 points to NLSIU Team 1, right? And teams which pounced, if you can raise your hands, right? So NUJs got it right with 10 points. And Symbiosis Law School Pune also cracked it with 10 points, and AFMC getting it right as well. So all three teams cracking Mr. M.N. Roy on this. And I really like the fact that you used the whole Russian influence and taking that as a clue to work out this answer. Good, well done.